All right, so I'll jump in here. I always like to say not all clouds are equal, and we've been talking about layered security. And so a couple things you want to look for when you're looking at a cloud provider. One, you want to make sure they have dedicated security teams. Because the thing about cloud is that when it comes to cloud, everybody understands that security is the #1 issue facing a cloud provider. And if you're meeting with a cloud provider, if you're interviewing with a cloud provider, if you're assessing a cloud provider, if they don't have dedicated security, that's a big one. And the really solid providers will have dedicated teams that all they're doing is focusing on security. And then you dive into the technologies that that everybody here has been talking about. You're going to see layers of those technologies. Encryption is one of the big ones. Cloud should enable companies that could not previously afford encryption to be able to encrypt their data. And so you want to be able to see, specifically with just encryption, that one, it's easy to accessible, but it's throughout the entire cloud. And for years there's been concerns about clouds not being able to have encryption throughout the cloud. But we've been overcoming a lot of these barriers. And so there's a general principle in the InfoSec world, which is, whenever there's challenges to security, there's also an opportunity for technological development. And that's one of the great things about the U.S. is that, we really go after the problem. And so you'll find that there are significant ranges in terms of the amount of security that a cloud provider has. And so definitely look for those dedicated security teams. Look for the way that they implement encryption technology. There's things like data loss, products. Those are really important. And then really ask them to define for you those layers. And then the last one I'll throw up before I kind of open up the floor for the other guys is, compliance is a big part of how people evaluate the cloud. And Tom made a great comment when he talked about uptime. I remember with SLAs, back when I was involved in running a managed service, as long as we had a good SLA for uptime and we flashed our SAS 70 certificate, we could sell to anybody. And so compliance is important, but you want to see the cloud provider that goes beyond compliance. And I'll just give you a deep dive. In PCI, right, they talk about firewalls. Well, everybody has a firewall. Find out what they do beyond that requirement. What do they do beyond PCI compliance? What do they do beyond SAS 70 or the other compliance frameworks? Because a true cloud provider that's focused on security knows that compliance isn't enough.